She has had many names throughout her long life. Rolla, Ace Rolla, Kissshot Ace Rolla Orion Heart Under Blade, Oshino Shinobu. Princess turned vagabond, into a vampire, to a goddess, back into a bloodsucker, to eventually being a former shell of her vampiric self. What's going on, friends? Nayaragi D. Hemmings here today to talk to you guys about my favorite Monogatari character, Shinobu, Kissshot, the iron-blooded, hot-blooded, cold-blooded vampire. Her 598-year history and why she's a phenomenal and unique character even amongst the Monogatari cast. I will be spoiling things from the light novel, so even if you are caught up with the anime, some of the content I'm covering are from the light novels that have not technically been officially released in English, so be wary. Aside from probably Hitagi Sencho, Shinobu, I believe, is the character that's gone through the most character development, and I'm not just saying that because she's lived nearly 600 years. Excluding her backstory and only taking in the main story with Koyomi Araragi and friends, she's come a long way. Let's start by covering her history and life before even meeting Koyomi, the main character of Monogatari. Shinobu was known as Princess Rolla, a gorgeous human princess from an unnamed kingdom. She was beloved by all her peers, family, and subjects because of her unmatched beauty. She would be showered with gifts and attention from all of her subjects, but this did not make the princess happy. Princess Rolla didn't smile because she wasn't some shallow, sheltered princess. She had values, intelligence, and inner beauty she wished people could see her for, not just her physical appearance. An elderly witch appeared before her and granted her this wish, making Rolla invisible, manifesting her inner beauty as this pure light that spread throughout the kingdom. Yes, her inner beauty was several times more impressive than her physical appearance, causing the people to offer her what they considered their most prized possession, and for most people, they offered their lives as tribute. Even her own parents, her mother felt true completion and fulfillment from having created such a perfect being that she killed herself.
You do not know the way.
Parents that value their children's lives more than their own would kill their kids as tribute for the princess.
What?
Horrified. In a state of overwhelming shock and grief, she tried to get the witch to undo the wish, but the witch was dead.
Oh no.
Having carved out her knowledge-filled brain as an offering for Princess Rolla. In this moment, the princess's tears revive her for a brief moment. It's so stupid, but anyways.
Okay.
And then Witch is all like, yo, avoid people and don't stay anywhere for too long. So anyways, now going by the name of Ace Rolla, the princess left looking for a way to cure her curse. And she wanted to stop the death she brought to the world. This is where she meets a purebred vampire by the name Deathtopia, virtuoso suicide master.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Offering Ace Rolla a place to stay while they figure things out and try to cure her. And since she was an immortal vampire, she didn't have to worry about her dying. But her servant, Deathtopia servant that is, Tropical A-Wave Dogstring, these names, man. Nisio Ishin, am I right? Tried to murder Ace Rolla, but instead destroyed himself beyond vampiric regeneration. At this point, the princess pleaded with Deathtopia to let her become a vampire, so at the very least, she could consume the lives of the people that she brought death to. Deathtopia agrees and turns her into the vampire, and the human Rolla, Ace Rolla, dies that day, becoming Kissshot Ace Rolla Hato Ondo Bureido. She leaves soon after. It is heavily implied that becoming a vampire actually undid the curse, causing no one to kill themselves by seeing her. The irony here being that now she would have to willingly feed on humans to live because she's a vampire, when the whole point of her becoming one was to consume the lives of the victims who died as a result of her curse. Just tragic stuff, man. Kissshot starts traveling the world as a vampire. She visits Japan for the first time after jumping from Antarctica into a lake in Japan, causing the water from that lake to splash upwards and rain down on a nearby village, suffering from a rain deficiency, a drought. This random continent leap would lead the people to see her and worship her as a goddess. This is a bad thing, because there is an entity, a phenomenon in the Monogatari universe known as the Darkness. A supernatural phenomenon that deletes, erases oddities and supernatural beings that stray from their path. Kissshot was not a goddess, but a vampire, and this darkness came for her. Around this time is when she met what I call the feudal Ghostbuster, an oddity slayer, Seishiro Shishirui, the initial wielder of the two swords known as Kokoro Watari and Yume Watari. The two of them became close and hunted monsters together until the anti-existence darkness came for her, and he died, leaving just his hand, so she bit into his hand to revive him, thus making him a vampire and making Seishiro her first minion, who ended up casting himself into the sunlight, killing himself, leaving Kissshot alone, mad at what Kissshot's actions caused. Her being one of the very things they hunted together and turning him into what he considered to be an abomination. So he killed himself. She then wandered the earth for a couple more centuries, coming back to Japan, looking for a place to die, where she made her first minion, letting 3 vampire hunters leave her for dead, taking her limbs and her heart. But at the last moment, she was overcome by fear and, terrified at dying, starts to cry, pleading for her life. This is where the beginning of the iron-blooded, hot-blooded, cold-blooded vampire comes to an end. Koyomi Adaragi runs into her, long story short, lets her feed on his life to save her life, but she doesn't actually kill him. During these events, Koyomi becomes a vampire, her second minion, who is also a Japanese male, and slowly starts retrieving the vampire parts of Kissshot to turn her back into her full form, because she says, in her full form, she can make him human again. He succeeds, and after restoring her, he actually catches the full vampire revived Kissshot feeding on a human, one of the vampire hunters that he defeated, and even took his new friend Hanekawa Tsubasa hostage. And that's when their philosophies on life clash. An immortal vampire who sees humans as nothing but food, and a teenager who values all life, who couldn't possibly comprehend the hardships and perspective of Kissshot. At the end of this conflict, they come to a resolution that leaves nobody with the desired outcome. He takes away most of Kissshot's powers, making her a weaker version of her former self, and he could never be fully human. As you can see, a lot has happened. The beautiful princess goes from a cursed human to a being that wants to save lives to one that willingly consumes them to live without hesitation. She even comments that when she had to take her first human life, she hesitated. It's interesting how this all came like full circle. Her ordeal with Koyomi leaves them bonded. She feeds on him to live, and she could actually become her full vampire self again by killing him, and he can become human by killing her, but neither of them ever do it. She now goes by the name Shinobu Oshino, her new name given to her by a man named Meme Oshino. She starts off the beginning of her new life, basically pouting and not talking to anybody. Eventually, she starts to save Koyomi once in a while by letting her use the sword, Kokowatari, that used to belong to her minion, though it's a replica. And even though this situation is unfavorable to Shinobu, she lets it go, accepting her new role, even saying that she's essentially tired of moping around, she's bored, and she's quite talkative by nature. They reconcile and develop what I consider to be the most meaningful relationship in the series, even more than Araragi Koyomi's relationship with his friends, his sisters, and his girlfriend. He is ready to die for her without moment's hesitation at any given moment, and he's going to probably outlive all of his peers, and they are literally bonded until death. Her high and mighty nature never really goes away because she is royalty and spent most of her life being an unstoppable bloodsucker, so it's understandable. She does become kinder in her own little Shinobu way. One of my favorite portions of her growth comes during the events of Mayoi Jianshi. Shinobu and Koyomi grow a lot closer during this portion of the story. Long story short, they travel through time and space to a parallel Earth where the world got destroyed by Shinobu herself. Koyomi's death restores her powers, but in her grief and despair, she destroyed the world because she misses him. When this version of Kissshot sees the potential possibility, an alternate version of herself, where her and Koyomi are close and in a partnership, it's more than enough to let them stop her rampage, consume her life force so they can travel back to their own time. And it was truly a moving moment because at this point you start to really understand what she does mean to him, what he means to her, I'm sorry. When her former minion actually revives, she ultimately ends up choosing Koyomi over Shishido. Koyomi beats him in a battle and she forgives him for leaving her alone and calling her a monster and then consuming his corpse and putting the past to rest. I see Shinobu's personality as ferociously playful but regal. She still speaks in an older archaic speech pattern stemming from her high class and the time period she's from, but she loves donuts. She loves donuts, dude. But she is very much still a vampire and will mercilessly destroy and fight any enemy of her and Koyomi. I am also a huge fan of Shinobu's signature laugh. Shinobu's current appearance is that of an 8-year-old, and depending on how much of her vampire power she has, the older she looks. She has a child form, a preteen form, a teenager, young adult, and then her full form as Kissshot. Typically, no matter what form she's in, she's always in some type of a dress, which to me is a nod to her royal heritage. I find that especially in Kissshot Monogatari, her clothes are very elegant, high class. The crimson red in her Kissshot forms is symbolic of blood, passion, danger, and strength. The white gloves, the white high heels symbolizing cleanliness and purity, and the black string in her hair meaning death. Her cleavage is out, and wink wink nudge nudge, no panties. She looks like royalty. Long, elegant blonde hair, fair skin, and her outfits mixed with her royal elegance and vampiric ferocity, especially in her eyes, truly make her look like a transcendent beauty, which she is. We have a former cursed princess turned vampire, temporary goddess turned into a former version of her vampire self. Shinobu, Kissshot, Princess Rolla is just one fantastic character that very much makes the Monogatari series thrive. This is why she is my favorite character. There is nobody in this series I'd rather stand. I plan on doing more videos like this where I talk about various characters, so look out for those. For the Monogatari people, Gatari Hive, who is your favorite character in Monogatari? Let me know in the comment section below who it is, unless it's Sengoku Nadeko, Sodachi Oikura, or Hanekawa Tsubasa. Then don't comment. Subscribe though.